Gun violence is the focus of a summit in Washington today. Police chiefs from major cities around the country are meeting together to discuss increases in violent crime. They're especially concerned about the rise in homicides. And we have now D.C. Metropolitan Police report that shows 87 homicides so far this year. That is up from 69 at this time last year. Then police in Baltimore, they report 179 homicides compared to 115 a year ago. And in Chicago, police say there have been 252 homicides, up from 209 at this point last year. We have Gary McCarthy. He is the Chicago Police Superintendent. We have Kathy Lanier, the police chief of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Thanks to both of you for joining us. And Superintendent, you see these numbers. You're seeing them in your city. You're seeing them in Chief Lanier's city. We see them in Baltimore. Why is there this uptick in violent crime?
There's always going to be a number of reasons for it, and that's really why we convened this particular event. Actually, it was Kathy's idea when she saw my comments over the 4th of July weekend. The thing that I'm hearing a very common thread throughout this conference is the fact that criminals are not being held accountable. In the city of Chicago, we seize more guns than any city in the country every single year, 3 to 1 in comparison to Los Angeles and 7 to 1 in comparison to New York City. This year, we've got a 22% increase in our gun arrests. So what's happening when we put those individuals into the system that stops them from coming out and being involved in gun violence again before it becomes a murder or a shooting? And that's one of the key elements, certainly in the city of Chicago.
Okay, so then Kathy Lanier, Chief Lanier, you heard in the report just before you this proposal from Senator Chuck Schumer, and it's about getting better reporting. People who should not be able to have access to guns under the law, getting information about them reported to the national system. Do you think that that's an essential part of this?
I think that what is very clear to all of us, especially since we got here today, we all had a gut feeling that there was something more than some local tipping point that has occurred that has caused this dramatic spike in so many cities across the United States. And what has dawned on us in this discussion so far today is that the solutions are not local solutions. There are some things going on that are affecting every city across the United States. Not every city has been hit with this spike yet, but with more than 30 cities represented here today, we see it's coming. It's coming in a wave, and that means that there is some broader issues at the federal level that have to be addressed nationally. And so that's why this is so important today. So things like gun control laws are just a small part of all of the things that are coming up in here today in terms of accountability for violent offenders and those repeat violent offenders, I think is a key part of this.
So when you talk about that, Chief, accountability for violent offenders, how are they being treated now, and how do you think they need to be treated?
Well, you listen to the statistics that have come out from city after city after city today. In Atlanta, in St. Louis, and Washington, D.C., our top 50 violent gun offenders account for 847 arrests. I mean, that's a staggering number, and we're hearing it from city after city after city. And then when you compare that small number of people with those extremely high numbers of violent gun offenses, the percentage of those persons that actually spend time in jail is hovering between 2 and 6%. So clearly there's a disconnect. When you've got that small number accounting for that large number of violent crimes and such a small amount of time or percentage going and spending time in jail, there's a problem. So I think that is one of the big focuses for today.
I imagine, Superintendent, it's quite an experience to be able to really get together with other people in your position as you're dealing with similar problems. Taking advantage of the fact that I do have you both here, what do you think can be done, Superintendent, in terms of working together to find a solution to this problem?
Well, first of all, we do this frequently. We're all members of something known as Major City Chiefs Association. What we did differently this time was we convened the individuals who are having this problem right now, and we invited elected officials. We only got the mayor of St. Louis came because of their schedules, but we also have prosecutors in the room speaking the same talk, if you will. And what we hope to really make a point is that, like Kathy points out, it's not just what's happening in Chicago, it's not just what's happening in St. Louis or Washington. This is absolutely happening across this country. And until the priorities of the criminal justice system come in line with what the policing world is doing, this is going to continue. So we have to get some solutions out there that are practical. We have to have middle-of-the-road conversations. And at the end of the day, we can improve our police performance. As I talked going into the 4th of July weekend, I was able to put a third more police officers on the street. People asked what was going to happen. I said, we're going to seize more guns, and nothing's going to change. And guess what? I was correct.